Can we remain standing for the anthems, please?
Namibia, land of the brave freedom fight, we have won. Glory to their bravery, whose blood waters our freedom. We give our love and loyalty, together in unity, contrasting beautiful Namibia, Namibia, our country, beloved land of savannas, hold high the banner of liberty. Namibia, our country, Namibia, motherland, we love thee. Let us all unite and celebrate together the victories won for our liberation. Let us dedicate ourselves to rise together to defend our liberty and unity. Oh, sons and daughters of Africa, flesh of the sun and flesh of the sky, let us make Africa the tree of life.
Please be seated. Honorable Pohamba Shifeta, Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, the Republic of Namibia, Mr. Teofilus Nghitila, Executive Director of the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Dr. Richard Bergl, Chairperson of the Smart Partnership and Chief Mission Officer at the North Carolina Zoo, colleagues at the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, heads of other government departments, NGOs and the private sector, representatives from the KfW Development Bank, representatives from the Global Smart Partnership, our project staff from the Integrated Wildlife Project and the NAMPAX project, all invited guests and conference delegates, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. My name is Kolge Sikopo, Deputy Executive Director responsible for Natural Resource Management at the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, and I shall direct proceedings for this official opening or opening session rather. We are here today for the Global User Conference on the Spatial Monitoring and Reporting Tool known as the SMART program. We all know this is a tool that is used around the world to monitor protected areas, endangered and high-value species, aspects related to natural resource utilization, human-wildlife conflict, wildlife protection, and many others, or wildlife crime, and many others to support our improved management of protected areas and conservation aspects, and also for the protection of our wildlife species wherever we find them. And therefore, we are happy to have you all here. I now will invite the Executive Director of the Ministry, Mr. Teofilus Nghitila, to do the remarks in welcome. Mr. Nghitila.
Thank you very much, Director of Proceedings, who is also the Deputy Executive Director in the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Honorable Minister, Honorable Poamba Sifeta, Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Director of Parks and Wildlife, the Chair of Smart Partnership Global, Dr. Richard, invited guests, representatives from various institutions, smart practitioners, ladies and gentlemen, members of the media. I'm quite extremely happy to see all of you here in Namibia, and sincerely welcoming you to this very important gathering where practitioners will share experience, what work when it comes to SMART as a tool for biodiversity monitoring. Namibia, we are happy to be the host of this very important Congress here in Windhoek. I understand we have over 30 countries represented here that really demonstrate how important this tool has become. And Namibia is very happy to be associated with such a tool. We look forward to have a constructive interaction here for the next 2 days. Honorable Minister, this tool is proving to be very important when it comes to monitoring of wildlife, when it comes to wildlife crime, when it comes to human-wildlife conflict, and many other aspects associated to biodiversity conservation. Namibia continues to be a trendsetter when it comes to wildlife conservation. And we would like to be one of those trendsetters or one of the participant countries to really master the tool and be able to sustainably utilize it in our monitoring efforts of our wildlife, especially in our national parks. So we look forward to be a reliable and a strong partner in the utilization of SMART as a tool. We look forward to really become a sender in Southern Africa when it comes to SMART utilization, and we really look forward to have the capacity in the ministry to be able to utilize this information. Always when you are engaged in biodiversity conservation, monitoring becomes so valuable. And our scientists, our rangers, they are urged to actively utilize this tool. This tool is another way of going digital when it comes to biodiversity conservation. Namibia, welcome all of you. On behalf of the Ministry of Environment and Tourism, we really look forward to for you to experience Namibia. You start with Windhoek, and of course, I hope you will have opportunity to visit some of our protected area. We have one close here called Danfilion. Not so far away, we have also Hardap in the south. So please take time after your deliberations to see what Namibia has. When you go to Hardap, obviously, you will have most of the species there. I hope you have made provision for such a visit. Please enjoy Windhoek, and I wish you a productive gathering, and sincerely welcoming you to Namibia. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nghitila. Indeed, this program has become quite a vital tool for our conservation in the country, and I'm sure it's for the rest of the world. What started in Etosha National Park for us has been rolled out to other parks. And over the years, or the past few years, we have been working closely with North Carolina Zoo, and we appreciate the collaboration that we have had so far. And we couldn't have any doubt when we were approached to host this, given the collaboration that we have had. And we are happy to have this here. And it's for that, I now invite Dr. Richard Bergl, Chairperson of the Smart Partnership and Chief Mission Officer at North Carolina Zoo, for a statement, please.
Good morning, everybody. And on the behalf of the Smart Partnership and the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, welcome to Namibia. We're really happy that so many people from across the world have been able to take the time to come and join us and share your experiences with the Smart system. But I do want to start with some thanks. I particularly want to thank two people who I'm sure many of you who have been interacting with, Natalia and Drew. Drew's here, Natalia's here somewhere, so if you would give them a hand, please. Organizing this conference has been a huge effort, and it wouldn't have happened without them and without our colleagues from Conference Link, the conference organizer who we've been working with. Sophia, Anita, and Nadine have also been instrumental in making this happen. So thank you very much to them as well. I'd like to thank a variety of sponsors who have made it possible to bring all of you here and to have this venue for our meeting. And then especially our co-host, the Ministry, for helping to facilitate this and for being such excellent partners in implementing SMART here in Namibia. A reminder to everybody, please download the app for the conference. This is where all the information for the conference is located. You will get regular updates, et cetera. You can scan the QR code or go to the registration desk and they can help you with getting the app on your phone because there's no printed program. A few quick housekeeping items. The information desk was where you checked in. If you have any questions about accommodation, travel, any medical issues, et cetera, please go to them and ask them there, and they can sort things out for you. Also, when you are speaking, please turn your presentation into the media room, which is off the main hallway here, the day before your presentation, so that we can get them loaded onto all the computers in time for your presentations. If you have any other questions, you can look for anybody wearing a SMART t-shirt or a Conference Link t-shirt. We have a number of ambassadors and Conference Link staff who are around the venue who can solve any problems you have for you. Breakfast and lunch and dinner tickets you should have in your badge already. It indicates on there what the ticket is for, and just have that ready when you go for lunch or for dinner, et cetera. Breakfast, for those of you who are staying here, hopefully you found out already, is in your hotel. And then this evening, we have our initial icebreaker event at 17:30. This is at the Safari Village area, which is just behind the conference area here. It's the open patio area next to the restaurant. So all participants are welcome, and we'll have drinks there in order to facilitate everybody getting to know each other even better. So welcome again to the Smart Global Congress. This is something that we've been planning for many, many years. It's something that we've been intending to do for even longer. It's really gratifying to see so many people here, many of you who know, but many more of you who I don't know. Welcome again to Namibia, and I hope this is going to be a valuable Congress for you. As some of my MEFT colleagues already alluded, there's a really incredible diversity of people here. We have over 300 attendees representing more than 100 different organizations from over 50 different countries. Some people have traveled, actually I found out today, even more than 18,000 kilometers to get here. We have people here from Australia, from Brazil, from Colombia, so really is an international gathering. And it's also very representative of the conservation community. So we have a lot of NGO people here, but I'm very glad that we also have a significant contingent of government staff. And as I said, really global representation. Obviously, since we're in Africa, a lot more people from Africa, but a significant number of people from the rest of the globe, making this truly a global Congress of smart users. So I'd like to talk a little bit about SMART and the SMART partnership, where we've come from, where we are now, and where we're going in the future. So SMART has always been created by conservationists for conservationists. And our goal since the inception of the program 14 years ago has been to provide tools that support conservationists and help conservation work better. And the 8 current members of the SMART partnership, shown on the screen, have been committed to this since the beginning of SMART back in 2011. Since at the beginning, SMART has focused particularly on technology. Obviously, SMART at its heart is a technology, and that's often what gets the most focus. But equally important to us has been building the capacity of SMART users and creating a global community of SMART users who reinforce each other, help each other, and collectively pursue the goal of preserving wildlife. And we've come a long way. I'm not sure how many people in the room know the donkey logo there. That was the placeholder logo for the very first pre-SMART release, the software that was the first delivery that we got from our developer. And probably even fewer people, probably maybe only 1 or 2 in the room, recognized the SMART project concept logo, which was stuck on top of a piece of paper when we were writing down what was SMART going to be before a single line of computer code had been written. But yeah, it is really remarkable how we've gone from that donkey now to where we are sitting in the room today. SMART started as a very small group of people sitting in a room thinking about how can we provide a tool that will be useful for conservationists working around the world. And recognizing the need for a way to collect systematic data in the field and then use that data to strategize for conservation more effectively. The first software release was in 2011, and it focused initially on law enforcement monitoring. It only allowed it for collection of data in the context of patrols. There was no online component. There was no app initially. All the data were collected on paper. And when we started, we thought, well, maybe if we were really successful with SMART, we would have perhaps 100 sites using it, probably ones that we were all already involved with. It turns out we were very wrong. There are now more than 1,200 sites around the world using SMART in more than 100 different countries. SMART adoption has grown incredibly rapidly, and it continues to grow. SMART users are implementing SMART on every continent in the world other than Antarctica, unless there's somebody here from Antarctica who I'm not aware of. And you can learn more about the global adoption of SMART on the SMART website. If you don't see your site here, if you don't see your site on the website, please let us know and we will add it, because we want to make sure that we are aware of everybody who is using SMART around the globe. But perhaps I think the greatest example of how the adoption of SMART and the use of SMART has grown is the diversity of the attendees present in this room. As I showed in the previous slide, it's really incredible how many people in so many different places are using SMART and for so many different, with so many different goals. So SMART, as I said, originally started out as a quite simple system. We only collected patrol data. Data were recorded on data sheets and manually entered into the system using an old-fashioned Garmin GPS. But now we have a really sophisticated platform that allows for the collection of multiple different kinds of data, allows for navigation in the app. We have a cloud platform that allows for the centralized management and sharing of data. You can collect data in SMART profiles, which I know many of you are using about individual entities. We can collect information from tourists or tour guides. There's a plugin for the R statistics program. And many of these features have come directly from all of you. One of the things that I think has helped to make SMART successful is that we listen to our users, and indeed, we are our users. Many of the people in this room, in addition to the conservation work that they do on the ground, are directly involved with the creation of SMART, and one of the goals of this conference is to continue to get feedback from you on how we can improve SMART and how we can make SMART do what you need it to do. But as I said, SMART can't just be software. There's lots of tools out there. There have always been lots of tools out there for trying to make conservation better. What we have to do and what we have really focused on is helping people to effectively use the software. And so capacity building has been a significant part of what we have done since the beginning. We provide manuals, guides, the website, online webinars, in-person training, and now the inaugural SMART Global Congress. And so we have put a significant emphasis on how to use the software, but going beyond that, also how to use the information that comes out of the software to develop conservation strategies. It's not enough to just record the information in the field and create a report that then goes and sits in a file cabinet somewhere. That information has to be applied on the ground, and that's another thing that we've really focused on and continue to focus on within the partnership in our work with all of you. One of the things that's been surprising, though, which we didn't necessarily anticipate at the beginning of SMART, was how SMART has helped to empower people. By learning how to use SMART, people have gained skills that have been very valuable for their jobs. SMART itself has created jobs for many of the people in this room. I was surprised looking at all the list of attendees, how many people had something about SMART listed in their job description, whether they're a national coordinator or a site officer for SMART. So it really is, we've been really gratified to see that SMART has helped to create opportunities for people as well. And it's also helped to empower communities. Obviously, a lot of SMART use is by governments and by NGOs, but communities also have been adopting SMART in order to help to better manage natural resources under their control. And by building the tool and by building capacity, we've really also tried to build that global community of SMART users that I described. We've done that through things like the online forum, which now has over 1,000 users and has more than 5,000 posts on it, where people are asking questions about SMART and getting answers. Early on, when I started to really realize that SMART was gaining traction with the global conservation community, was when, at that point I felt like I knew just about everybody who used SMART. But we started to get questions on the forum posted by people who I didn't know, and then people who I didn't know were responding, and they were explaining how to do something with SMART that I didn't know how to do. So it was a really great moment for me when I saw, not only are lots of people using it who I don't know, but the knowledge of SMART has expanded beyond even what I knew about the software. And now, probably the majority of people in this room know how to use SMART better than I do, which I look as a real sign of success. Another thing that we've really focused on is creating partnerships and creating integrations with other systems. We've had a great long-running partnership with our developer, Refractions. Jeff from Refractions is here. Also CyberTracker, Justin from CyberTracker is here, who has developed the mobile app. And without that very close partnership with them, SMART wouldn't be where it is today. We are also partnering with other initiatives like MET to provide data for doing MET assessments, and partnering with other similar people who are working with conservation technology like EarthRanger, where there's a whole session, several sessions actually, on EarthRanger and EarthRanger Smart integration here at the conference. Other platforms like Gundi we've worked on, which help to integrate data from other systems into SMART. And we provide multiple different online mapping platforms in the software that allow you to access all kinds of geographic data from around the world. So I wanted to go through and just talk a little bit about all the different uses to which SMART is now being put. Obviously, SMART started off as a law enforcement and protection platform, and so that's where it's still being used a lot, but because of the flexibility of the platform and because of the capacity building that we've supported SMART with, it's now being used for an incredible diversity of uses. But law enforcement is still at the core of SMART. And so if you look at here at Namibia, where it's been adopted for all national parks, or equally in Thailand, it's been adopted across every single park in the country, or in Colombia as well, SMART is really providing a very solid basis for protected areas and the protection of wildlife in countries around the globe. But it's also being used for things like surveys and monitoring. Here in Namibia, SMART was used for rhino block counts in Etosha National Park. It's being used for biodiversity monitoring in Rwanda. The Diane Fossey Gorilla Fund, who's also here, transitioned their entire biomonitoring system from paper to SMART recently. SMART is even now being used in countries in Europe. For example, in Spain and Portugal, it's being used for monitoring rabbit populations. Another emerging use of SMART is for documenting or investigating wildlife health. The WCS Wildlife Health Program has recently deployed SMART for ranger-based wildlife health data collection in several countries in Asia, and there's a whole session on the use of SMART for wildlife health here at the Congress. Citizen science is another interesting use that we never really anticipated. We were thinking about rangers and scientists collecting data with SMART, but now it's being increasingly used by just individuals to record information. A great example of this is in Zambia, in Kafue National Park. Panthera has partnered with a number of tourism operators there, where the tourism guides record information, particularly about carnivores, and that information goes back into the database for monitoring carnivores in the Kafue ecosystem. Research is something that we intended SMART to be used for, but the diversity of research where SMART is being applied is really incredible. In Colombia, SMART is being used to model the occupancy or the occurrence of the torrent duck, which is the animal shown here. It's being used in Equatorial Guinea on the island of Bioko for looking at the impact of bushmeat on mammal populations. And it's even being used for looking at the drivers of wildlife crime in places like Southern Asia. Marine conservation, I think there are several marine conservation folks here in the audience today. Around the world, SMART is being used not in terrestrial ecosystems, but in both freshwater and marine ecosystems. Gakova Bay in Turkey, all of the marine protected areas in the Central American country of Belize, and in Kenya at the Mwambo Coastal Network. Many of you I know work with detection dogs, and patrols that have detection dogs routinely use SMART. SMART is being used particularly for recording information on interdiction by detection dog teams, but it's also being used for managing the detection dog programs themselves. So for tracking the training of individual dogs, for making sure they're getting the exercise that they're getting, that they're supposed to get, for recording health information and so on. So not just for how many confiscations were done, but how well is the program doing, and how are the expectations of the program in terms of the dog training being met. I mentioned communities already. Community-based natural resource management is another emerging and increasingly important use of SMART. Shown here is a group of Inuit in northern Canada. In northern Canada and the Canadian Arctic, SMART is being used by the Nunavut Wildlife Management Board to allow people, Inuit who have traditional access rights to hunt, to record information about what they are hunting, and also information about wildlife that they see while they're out on the ice, and that information is then used to inform policy and take levels for hunting in future years. Here in Namibia, SMART is being used in the Kunene region for community-based monitoring of rhinos and of lions. And far, far, far from Namibia, in Papua New Guinea, community ranger patrols in the use conservation area are using SMART to monitor those forests, and particularly tree kangaroos. The SMART Profiles plugin was originally developed for recording intelligence data, so this is for doing network analysis of intelligence data. And that is being used extensively around the world to assess variables associated with tiger poaching in Bangladesh, looking at wildlife crime in the greater Kruger ecosystem in South Africa. But again, the flexibility that's built in the system has allowed it to do things other than just intelligence analysis. So several people are using it to identify individual animals and track individual animals. So for example, individual lions in Zambia, individual elephants elsewhere. So again, the flexibility that's built into SMART has allowed it to be applied in this wide diversity of different use cases. Another thing that we didn't anticipate SMART being used for was infrastructure management, but obviously running national parks, running protected areas requires the maintenance of significant infrastructure. In Ngauruhoe National Park in Zimbabwe, it's being used by their road maintenance crews to track their activities. And here in Namibia, it's especially being used for managing things like boreholes, water holes, and fences, which are so central to the management of wildlife in Namibia's national parks. And then lastly, human-wildlife conflict is obviously a significant issue in conservation. SMART is really facilitating the collection of data on conflict in order to understand patterns of wildlife conflict. There are multiple sites across Africa, including Zambia, Namibia, Zimbabwe, that are using SMART for monitoring wildlife conflict. But I think a particularly interesting and innovative use that is being piloted here in Namibia is the use of SMART for the payment of human-wildlife conflict claims. So we are piloting this with the ministry to expedite claims from communities when they have losses associated with human-wildlife conflict, so that they can receive compensation in a faster and a more easily tracked manner. But ultimately, all these use cases don't really mean a lot unless there's an actual impact on the ground. And so I wanted to close by sharing a few examples from the SMART community of the impact that SMART has had. And I wanted to share the words of SMART users around the world. So in Belize, SMART is being used really effectively to inform policy and data management for marine protected areas. In Vietnam, SMART has been really effectively used for improving ranger evaluation and performance, which then has downstream effects on wildlife populations. In Kakova Bay in Turkey, which I already mentioned, SMART is being used to more efficiently patrol and enforce no-take zones, in addition to improving patrol performance. Since the program began now in 2015, they've seen significant increases in recovery of fish stocks in an area where fish stocks had been almost entirely denuded. In Costa Rica, another different way of looking at what SMART has achieved. SMART has facilitated the inclusion of women in conservation, often an underrepresented group, especially in conservation in the field. The fact that it was a technology really allowed women to become key members of their community patrolling brigade. And then lastly, the words of our friend Bennett Kuhure here in Namibia, where we are all standing. I thought was an appropriate place for the last example. Namibia has been, SMART has been really effective in Namibia for enhancing data management, for enhancing monitoring, for enhancing law enforcement, ultimately, as Bennett said, to better preserve wildlife for the future, which is why I think all of us are here and all of us are in our various professions. So while we had a lot of success with SMART, and SMART has had some considerable impacts around the world, obviously we're not stopping here. I look at the Congress as kind of a milestone for looking to the horizon for the future of SMART. Coming up this year, we'll have a follow-up release of SMART 7 and then also a release of the next generation of SMART, SMART 8. This will include a wide variety of new features which you can learn about at a number of different sessions at the conference. I'm sure many people will be happy to see that conflict resolution in SMART Connect is going to be considerably improved, along with processing of the data queue. We're adding, a more automated way to process data that's coming in through the cloud. We're going to be allowing on the mobile device to collect lines and polygons, so you can measure areas just by walking around to measure something like a burned area or the size of a farm or something like that. And we're also rolling out the embedded Earth Ranger and function in the desktop software, in Connect, and a number of enhanced integrations both with Earth Ranger and through Gundi. Another big announcement which is going to be made here at the conference is the release of our online learning platform. This will allow people around the world to go through a series of modules to learn new skills with SMART and to get online certification in different levels of SMART training. At the conference and moving forward, we really want to continue to offer opportunities for engagement with the partnership. We'll have several sessions where we would like to discuss with those of you who aren't already directly involved with the partnership how you can get involved, opportunities for sitting on the various different committees and teams and groups that we have within SMART, which ultimately are the people who direct the future of the program. We want to continue getting feedback from all of you, so we have several different listening sessions, focus groups scheduled. Please come to those, sign up for those, and tell us what you think of SMART, how you think we can improve it, what you like, what you don't like, and so on. Because ultimately, we are committed to the future of SMART, and we want to continue providing a valuable tool that all of you are using that's meeting your needs, and that ultimately is helping all of us to better conserve wildlife and wild places around the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Bell, for that update and background information on SMART. I think it gives us an insight of what is happening across the world and how important this tool is for the conservation of our natural resources. Ladies and gentlemen, join me now to invite our Honorable Minister of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, Honorable Pohamba Shifeta, is going to give us the keynote address. Honorable Minister.
Thank you very much, Director of Ceremonies, Mr. Kogas-Kopo, who is also our Deputy Executive Director responsible for natural resources in the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Tourism. Mr. Teofilus Nghitila, our Executive Director, the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Tourism. Mr. Bernard Kahure, our Director responsible for wildlife and parks management in the ministry. Officials of the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Tourism present. Dr. Richard Bergl, Chairperson of SMART Partnership and Chief Mission officer for the North Carolina Zoo, heads of the government departments present here, heads of NGOs and the private sector present, representatives from the KfW Development Bank, other representatives from the Global Smart Partnership present, Integrated Wildlife Management Project and the NAMPAC's staff present, all invited guests as per your titles and respective qualities, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I'm deeply honored to address you this morning at this very important event, Global Smart User Congress here in Windhoek, our capital city. We are very proud and grateful that the Smart Global Partnership decided to hold this important Congress here in Namibia. This gathering is a testament to our collective dedication to preserving the Earth's beauty and the diverse life it sustains. In Namibia, we celebrate our vast and open landscape, our remarkable biodiversity, and the rich cultural tapestry. We have long recognized the vital role of our protected areas in preserving our natural heritage. Director of Ceremonies, our protected areas are not just vast expanses of land, they are the lifeblood of our nation. They harbor our unique biodiversity, which includes iconic species such as the black and white rhino, wild dogs, lions, and elephants, among others. They are also home to a variety of game species and over 700 bird species. But these protected areas are not just for us, they are part of the global ecosystems, and the entire world benefit from their preservation, as we do. The Namibian national parks and our communal conservancies are not just about conserving nature, they are a source of livelihood and development opportunities for our local communities. These areas draw tourists from all over the world, generate employment and income, and also stimulate economic growth nationwide. They offer a unique chance to involve local communities in rural development, providing education, recreation, and research opportunities. The Ministry of Environment, Forest and Tourism has a critical mandate of promoting biodiversity conservation in the Namibian environment through the sustainable utilization of our natural resources and the tourism development. Our goal is to ensure that ecosystems and the species across Namibia are not only protected but also managed in a sustainable manner. However, effective management of these protected areas faces challenges such as deforestation, habitat destruction, climate change, poaching, and illegal wildlife trade, which threaten the very essence of our biodiversity conservation in Namibia. To address these multifaceted challenges, we have an array of monitoring targets, from law enforcement of human-wildlife conflict, conservation hunting, and biodiversity. The wealth of data generated daily is staggering. It necessitates innovative digital solutions that transform data for adaptive management. The types of ceremonies, the global recognition of the need for significant improvement in data management and technology transfer, as seen in the current monetary global biodiversity framework highlights the timelines of our efforts. Our commitment is to global biodiversity framework targets 20, especially targets 20 and 21, further underscores our dedication to the strengthening of our capacity and technologies for monitoring and knowledge management, especially for our student in the environment field and also wildlife management and human-wildlife conflict, those doing research in this field. In this context, integrating technology and the digitization of not merely a choice but an imperative. One of our responses to these challenges has been adopting the spatial monitoring and reporting tool across our protected areas to replace the previous paper-based monitoring system as a global standard for law enforcement, monitoring, and park management. SMART transforms our data collection and the management systems into integrated, connected, and transparent framework that drives decision-making for conservation action within our ministry for more effective management. SMART empowerment. SMART empowers us to measure trends in wildlife population, patrol efforts, invasive species, protected area infrastructure, human-wildlife conflict, among others. SMART provides a platform for the implementation of our park management plans. Through SMART, we can control threats to wildlife and their habitat, and secure threatened species survival. Director of Ceremonies. Our path forward includes digitizing archiving systems, the establishment of real-time central data management platforms, and the incorporation of a comprehensive workflow system. These steps will empower us to streamline operations, improve efficiency, and make data accessible to decision makers, practitioners, and stakeholders. In closing, we stand at a pivotal juncture in our conservation journey. Technology and digitalization have become our most potent allies in the battle to protect our protected areas in the world, especially in Namibia. We do so. Integrating SMART and other conservation technologies with our conservation efforts promises a brighter, more sustainable future for Namibia's biodiversity. Let me thank the ministry staff, the German Government Development Corporation funded projects such as Smart Park or NAMParks, and the Integrated Wildlife Protection Project. They are our NGO partners and a global SMART partnership, particularly the North Carolina Geological Society and WWF Namibia, for their unwavering support for conservation and sustainable natural resources management, and their inputs in building with us a robust monitoring system which enable us to protect our precious wildlife and wildlife places. Let us join hands, learn from each other, and build this solid conservation partnership for the benefit of our wildlife and people. I want to thank all of you for being here, and let me wish you a productive and a very deliberative, initiative deliberative Congress. Once again, thank you very much for being here, and I hope most of my colleagues will be here, although I will not be here in another engagement throughout the day, but I'm represented by my colleagues. I see many of them from regions as well. Thank you very much for being here.
Namibia is a land of breathtaking horizons, exquisite natural wonders, a unique variety of wildlife and cultural diversity. With the protection of the environment enshrined into the Constitution, today wildlife populations have been restored and local communities are able to generate sustainable income from natural resources.
This is one country that holds the largest population of black rhino. If not in sub-Saharan Africa, across the world, it's the one place where you have elephants that are transboundary between 5 countries within the CASA framework. It is the one country where you have a free roaming population of lions moving in between protected areas and communal land.
Namibia's protected areas are vital tools for conserving natural resources in the country, the biodiversity aspects of this country. Today we're talking about just over 44% of land being under conservation. And this is important for biodiversity conservation and tourism development in the country. These are valuable assets that we have as a country, but that monitoring just contributes to the conservation efforts that we have in order for us to make these protected areas sustainable, but also contributing to the economic development of this country.
And SMART practically helps us to really bring in the technological aspects in terms of our adaptive management cycle, from the management of wildlife to the management of infrastructure to the management of our staff complements within our protected areas. These monitoring tools are able to help us to see where the different herds are moving. At the same time, monitoring also enables us to really have a good grasp on especially cross-boundary or transboundary species that are moving in between the riverines. You have mentioned the CASA and so on, where we have elephants that are really transboundary, and we need to have very, very clear knowledge when we speak to our neighbors, to know that, where our elephants are moving, where our rhinos are moving, where our lions are moving. So it's quite critical in that aspect.
So we do conduct transboundary patrols with our counterparts, be it Botswana, Angola, as well as Zambia. So during these activities, we conduct on the border patrols, we visit communities within each of the countries and sensitize them on the dangers of indulging in wildlife crimes.
There's a lot of countries globally that are using the system, and it helps with the conservation because it also monitors some endangered species. You can see how the population of animals are growing.
SMART has really helped us to collect data much easier. Managers now can make better decisions based off the information that's actually gathered in the field. It has allowed better reports to be generated, mapping of information. But this information can be housed centrally, and that can help future managers to go back to this because it's a digitized system. go back to this information and actually see what has happened before and also predict future plans.
I'll mention one incident where we had a rhino injured during poaching incident, and I needed to have coordinate. After some times, we need to record each poaching incident or each cases death of rhino. We need to have those coordinates. But after, I would say, a year, I went back to my device or to my DAF book, and I went to get those coordinates. I got them from the DAF book after a year.
As a Chief Warden for Human-Wildlife Conflict in this ministry, we have also decided to implement SMART, especially on the human-wildlife conflict aspect, so that we have our people on the ground investigating and collecting data using SMART, which immediately, comes to us who are sitting in Windhoek and do this processing. So the visual aspect of SMART is very excellent, because the requirement for human-wildlife conflict, or the requirement for someone to get paid, for example, is that we need to see evidence. It makes my work so much easier, because it takes me away from sorting papers and going through a lot of forms. Everything is so simplified with SMART.
I will not spend much of the time on writing or drafting reports.
Because once you do the patrols, when you come back, you download the data that you've collected from the patrols, and you do the debrief. You can see exactly where and the effort that you are putting on.
Since 2016, the rollout of SMART in Namibia has been comprehensive and dynamic, spreading rapidly across this vast country, with even more planned for the future.
I think what we receive from the ground is also impressive, because it has made a difference for us to understand what is happening in the national parks, and therefore it has made it easier for us to make decisions and also guide, because the more we receive this information also helps in guiding on what is happening in the protected areas. And therefore it's important, as we move forward, that we have the SMART program or the SMART tool that help us to monitor the conservation targets that we have, because that in itself help us to determine the impact that we are having.
SMART is great. SMART has made everyone's life so much easier. It's user-friendly. Even illiterate rangers can use it. It allows managers to, at a click of a button, really be able to see what's happening in their protected area and help them then to make better decisions to manage their areas.
SMART is digitally transforming Namibia's parks and wildlife management systems. With these successes seen using the SMART approach to conservation management, the Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism is rolling out SMART in every national park in the country, with a view to include all protected areas and conservancies. The SMART program has been collaborative and inclusive, transferring data into actionable knowledge. In Namibia, SMART is empowering people and protecting nature.
That's it. That's a video we produced as a Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, just to showcase our SMART journey. And it brings us to the end of this opening session. And as we conclude, I'll ask Richard just to brief us on the next session and how we're going to get into the breakaway sessions.
Thank you very much, and yeah, really nice to see that video that the ministry produced. So obviously we're running a little bit behind, so what we're going to do is just immediately jump into the next session, which was scheduled for 9:15. So basically everything is approximately 30 minutes late, so if you can just adjust your schedules back by 30 minutes, And because of the timing, if we can all try to be on time to the two sessions that we're going to, and keep those ones on time so that we're not here until 9 or 10 o'clock at night. So yeah, thank you all for attending this opening session. A particular thanks to the ministry and to the minister for opening the Congress for us, and really looking forward to learning more from all of you about your smart and conservation efforts around the world. Thank you very much.